Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. And the journey continues today on April 7th, 2021 at approximately 5:18 a.m. PST. Just had to check the time. Well, we talked a lot about success, a lot about transformation. Today we get started on the rest of it, aka making certain that all of this goes, all of the things that you've been working towards start to actually take shape. Now, as you can see over here, I've moved the sign. You can see a little, so you can read the whole thing, or more to the point, so I can read it. Okay, this way, whenever I'm working on a video, I can see that sign that says "I am worth it." Now, the reality is, every person on the planet, every corporeal entity, everybody is worth as much as the next person. Now, to be clear, we are not talking financial worth. Okay, financial worth, there are variations, and there are bound to be variations. Because somebody is always better than somebody else. There is always somebody in worse shape than you are. And the reality of it is, when you accept that, and yet accept the fact that all people are equal, that is when we can start to make the real headway. Now, again, okay, that aims at the spiritual side. Up here we have a sign that says, I have legally attained a minimum of $2,000 by April 30th, 2021 at 1 minute to midnight. Now, that sign will get changed by the month. But, and as for the $2,000, remember, that is what it costs you to run your household, your rent or your mortgage, your utilities, your food, your insurance, any entertainment. It's what you require to actually survive. It does not necessarily mean live. Now, the difference to me, survive means you get everything that has to be done, but there's no real room to relax. Okay. So, I picked up the office equipment that I was looking for. Problem is that the parts were not labeled. The schematics are great, the parts were not labeled, so that has proven to be a real nightmare for me. For you, it may be very easy to deal with. For me, not so much so. So, let's look at the issue from. Not good. This is a live recording, meaning I do not go back over and edit out the glitches in it. What you see is what you get. Okay. Now, you have to, at least I've found, in order to make headway with life, you have to have a purpose. Now, the fact that you're watching this says you're looking for something that you haven't quite found yet. Now, for me, it's really kind of strange. I used to do journal by hand. Okay, now what's happening is I'm doing the journal, by video. Okay, and I don't worry about the technical term for that. I just look at it this way: sitting down once a day and reiterating to myself and to you how I'm doing things seems to help me stay focused. The other thing that works is this little list. Always put little, what I find happens is you start off, with 3 things on your list. Now, what those 3 things are up to you. But let's get started. Okay, number 1 is sitting right where you are right this moment. Okay, take a sheet of paper or a computer word processor or whatever use you want. Okay, whatever use you desire. Now you'll notice that I change words in the middle of sentences. If you look at my past videos titled Language, I cover a number of words that are very self-deprecating, spoken words in any language. Okay, these particular words seem to hold the power to hold people back, which is why I turn around and correct the word, correct what I say. And here's the thing: the moment you say something and it comes out into the physical world where you can hear it, it gives that thing more power. Okay, now I've been told thinking about something is as bad as doing it. Well, understanding that I am a gamer, I play D&D, Dungeons and Dragons. If thinking were as bad as doing, this planet would have died a long time ago. Okay, so I came to a conclusion. Thinking cannot be as bad as doing. It can certainly lead to as bad as doing. Okay, but then it doesn't lead to as bad as doing, it leads to doing. If you don't control what you're acting on. Okay, and remember, the issue is if you follow karmic law, do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Now that's actually the second one that I usually list. Be true to yourself, do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Energy out, energy in. What that really translates into is if you're nice, okay, it doesn't guarantee people will be nice to you, but it does stack the deck in your favor. Now, the purpose for me right now, the short-term purpose, is to get this office sorted out. So today I'm going to tangle with the desk again and get it up and running. I got it pretty much up and running, except for a couple of glitches, but like I said, because of the amount of automation and what have you, what I have found is people do not pay as much attention to detail as they used to. And I'm talking people in general. There are always, always, always exceptions to the rule. Okay, so my basic, and the thing I do caution people, is if I'm saying something that does not apply to you, as in if I'm referring to an overall group, and I'm saying something that does not actually apply to you, don't take it on. Okay? My purpose is simple. Get this whole room sorted out and get back into a decent writing schedule. Now, the way to do that is this funny little list. It helps me keep things organized. Now, over on the right underneath the sign where it says I am worth it, I have a physical calendar so I can keep track of what I'm up to. Now, it happens to be sitting right next to the door. Okay. And because of that, when I come into the office, the first thing I can do is glance at my calendar and go, okay, what have I got scheduled for today? Okay, it's a convenient place for me. It puts it right there. You know, I'm sort of not hard pressed to miss it, but at least it's right convenient, so it's right available. That'd be the purpose. Get this office straightened out. My bigger purpose is to get the message out to people, to all of you, that number one, every individual on the planet, every corporeal entity, and I mean people, humans, other races, animals, plants, minerals, they all have equal value. At their core, they're all composed of energy, and they all respond to energetic emanations. Okay, so the idea here is get the message out that number one, when we work together, okay, we can change this world for the better. When you take responsibility for your actions, for your words, you can alter your life. You can take it from whatever state it's in, however you got to where you are. You actually have the ability to alter it. Okay. Now, I'm about to embark on a journey, getting a little bit of extra help, because my health isn't as good as I desire it to be. But I've got to get a handle on it, which means I'm going to have to get the assistance of others. You guys have been phenomenal in motivating me to get started on the journey, to get started on the videos. I was asked a number of times by people to put these videos together. So what I'm doing is sharing the path that I'm using. It works for me. I've used it with multiple clients, and bear in mind, I've got over 80,000 clients under my belt over the last 45 years. Sorry, 48. Okay, in a month it'll be, well, in 2 months it'll be 48, but I'll be 58. Nope, it'll be early. I'll probably hit the 48 mark anyway. In a month, in just under a month, just over a month. Today is the, what did we say, the 7th? Yeah, I think today's the 7th. Now I gotta find it. Where are we? Yeah, today's the 7th. So, on next month, on the 13th, I turn 58. Okay, so before I get to that point, I will be going and talking to a doctor to get certain things regarding diet, regarding patterns, straightened out. Now, I've already made some decisions myself as to how that's going to go, which is why I'm putting a list of things together that I need to ask her about that I desire to know. Okay, I know that the doctor's going to order a number of different tests, different blood tests and what have you. She's going to talk to me about operations and what have you. Well, I've got my decision made on that. But the big purpose here is to let people know whatever your dream is, okay, as long as it follows karmic law, okay, is attainable with effort. But it doesn't matter who you talk to, it doesn't matter who helps you. The reality is success is only attainable by your own actions. Now, we've talked about, we've touched on the concept of time, your past, your present, and your future. Now, the past is over. It cannot be altered. You cannot go back in time. You can't undo that which you've done. You cannot unsay that which you've said. You cannot unthink that which you've thought. So the past is factored. That's where it sits. The present is where you've got all the activity going. This is where you can make your decisions. How you got to this point does not matter. All it matters in as much as it tells you why you're feeling what you're feeling. But it does not make any difference as to where you're heading. Okay, where you are right now is where you make the decisions. The future isn't written. Okay, you can do what you will with the future. It will take effort. If you've done things ineffectively, like the way that I was spending money before, I was on a downhill slide. Well, I had to stop that slide in order to get to the one goal that I used to have. The goal was I desired to be debt free. Okay, I got to that point. Okay, at 57 years old, I managed to get debt free. And now I've got the finances to start turning things around. But now it's a question of look at where I am, look at the past spending that I was doing, and realize that didn't work so well. So that has to be changed. Not the fact that I did it, but what I do from here on. Okay. Same with you. How you got where you are. How you got there matters in as much as if you can identify it, then you can see what you were doing ineffectively. If you don't know how to identify it, talk to the people around you and see what they think about how you got where you are, about what decisions you were making or what decision process you were making to ensure that you alter that path and don't do that anymore. Okay, now it's going to take patience. Okay, but first and foremost, you get the plan and you get the purpose in mind, get your plan in order. This is what I am going to do to guide my future into the world I desire. Now, I was told you have to have a plan in place by the time you're 20 in order to be successful. This is categorically wrong. Okay, what I found, and I call it wrong for one reason. Now, this is obviously, I hope it's obvious, this is simply my opinion, but here's the reality in my eyes. I've got all kinds of clients I've talked to, business and personal, over the years. The one consistency, no matter what walk of life people come from, the one thing I keep hearing them all say, pretty much, is I wish I could. I don't have an idea of what I want to do when I grow up until they get to about the mid 40s, early 50s. Okay, that's when people seem to figure it out. Now, if you're ahead of that curve, great. If you're behind it, don't worry about it. What's done is done. Where you are right now is what matters. Put a plan together. Now, it's going to take persistence to make that happen. The formula I came up with is roughly, and I am not educated in any of the statistical arts or any of that. Okay, but what I've found is on average it seems to take about 21 days to break or make a habit. Okay. Now, that said, that's where it requires persistence, consistently doing what you're aiming for. It's also going to take patience. You didn't get to this point in life by just overnight. It took you your entire life, however long that's been, to get where you are. Now it's time to decide, okay, let's say your life was miserable until now. Okay, and there are people out there that have horrendous lives. In my opinion, I would not desire to live on the street. I know people that choose to live on the street for various reasons. And I do mean literally choose. I don't mean they feel forced into it. I mean they go, I don't want to live in a house. One guy in particular I met some time back literally showed me his bank account. He said he liked living on the street. He liked sleeping outdoors. In today's world of soft beds and warm blankets, this guy preferred to live on the street come rain or shine. He said if it really gets bad, he'll take a hotel room. Right. And he'll rent it for a couple of days, maybe a week, depending on how bad it is. But here's the thing. He showed me his actual bank book. His actual bank book had a very high five-figure balance. No, I lied. It had a very not lied. I made a miscalculation. He had a very high six-figure balance. He was well over $900,000 in the bank, and he chose to live on the street. Okay. Now, his reasons were his own. Okay. He did tell them to me, I'm just not telling you. But the thing was, it was a very definitive choice that he didn't desire to live in a home anymore. So he didn't. Okay. Now, that's not my life. Okay. I live in a house. Well, I live in an apartment. I'm content with where my life is sitting right now, but there are things I'll be changing. Now you can still see, up on the top shelf, you can still see stuff that is just very disorganized. Okay, and that said, that will all get changed as time goes on. But the first thing I've got to do is get the desk sorted around over here. Okay, I've got that desk to sort out. I've got another desk here and a shelf to go in. Basically, I'm renovating the whole apartment. The idea is to get most of that done today. But it's one step at a time. And I'm the one that's going to have to do it. Now, whether I go and get help or whether I just simply do it myself, that's up to me. But in most cases, getting help makes things easier. Okay. There's times when there's an old saying that goes, too many cooks, right, and spoil the broth. Well, what that means is if too many people are trying to decide how something gets done, usually it creates a problem. Okay. Now, from my end, it's very simple. At this point, like today, I'll be focusing on getting the furniture set up. Then I'll be focusing on laying out an absolute writing path, so that I can get. The thing is, so I can get all the little projects done. I've already got the filing cabinet sorted out for the most part, so it's workable. Yeah, I got something in my eye. Hate that. Okay. Now, from your standpoint, a couple of other things that we can look at. And you can't see it, but, oh yes you can. Those sheets up there, one of those sheets hanging on the wall there, is what I call a policy book or a book for operations and procedures. Now understand, I have my house to run and business. the most undervalued work that I've run into in as far as people go is the family. Raising children properly. Properly being so they can become independent, productive members of society, and they can create a life that they're content with. Well, where it comes to that, okay, that policy page that I'm referring to is write down a policy, and on that policy page or on that book of operations and procedures, it applies to your personal life and business. Okay, but it will help you keep things organized so you're consistent, and consistency is the way things work. It does take patience, it takes persistence. Take a look at a clam, or not a clam, a starfish. When a starfish desires a bite to eat, they go after clams, but what they'll do is they'll wrap around, they'll grab hold of the clam, and they will apply pressure on a consistent level. They don't back off. They just continue until they get the clamshell open enough to actually get their meal. Okay, watch it on either YouTube or National Geographic. Okay, it's a little slow running to watch it in live person, live. Also very hard to find them when they're doing it live. Okay, but pick a goal and make it happen. As long as you're following karmic law, what the goal is doesn't matter. Okay, just remind yourself that these are changes you desire. One step at a time will work. Okay, now the policy book. On your policy pages, write down the date that you make the choice and make the decision. Write down what the policy is. Okay, like for me, I've got a new policy that I'm just adding today, which is when a bill comes in, when a bill shows up, whether it's electronic notification or it's a physical bill, get the bill paid. Get it off the deck so it's gone. Okay, so I will be making certain that the policy page today will be finished. That's a commitment to me. Okay, and the reason for that, and I'm just writing that down to make sure I get it done. Okay, now the reason for that, like I said, is consistency. It gives me a focus point. So if you're having trouble making things happen, if you're working towards something and you don't seem to make any headway, that's where this list can come in. It'll help you keep focused on it. Okay. You stay focused on it, you stay working with it, and what happens is you will get there. One step at a time. The one novel I wrote, Yldrbac, The Latter Years, that novel is a storyline that I started writing back in grade 10, okay, which would have put me about 15 years old. Okay, and now here I am at 58, coming on 58, and I've got it in print. I actually got it in print a couple of years back, but I have not done well on marketing. Okay, I've got a number of different books about the topics that we've talked about. Okay, that I've already got in print. Now, give us a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe to our channel. Okay, so you can see all the rest of the information. There's a lot of information that is coming out that's being gifted to you. Every tool I talk about using, if it applies to me, I'm using it. If it doesn't apply to me, such as how to quit smoking, I never started. But I've talked to enough people about how to do it that have come back and said it worked, that I know it works. And I'll be danged if I'm going to go and start smoking to prove it for myself. I'll take their word for it. Okay. All of these books are listed under the video. Okay, I'm the only one you can order them through at this point. Okay, so that works out well from my end. Now, that you'll also find a list of contact numbers, contact points, email address, Skype, that sort of thing, where you can get a hold of me. Okay, if you've got questions, if you've got things you'd like to share, absolutely drop me a line. I will do my best to respond. Okay, now that said, okay, I don't tend, how do I put this? One of the big things that I've noticed with, and this is not to, most of the people that see this video, okay, they'll watch the video and take what they will from it. I've said drop me a line on video. I'm going to make a direct request to people because some people keep adding all sorts of these X-rated links to some of my video comment sections. I'm going to ask you politely, don't, because I will have them removed. I do not agree. I don't have a problem with the industry. If that's where you want to go there. But that is not the point of my videos. Okay. There's all sorts of other places you can advertise. Do not do it on my videos. Okay, or on anything else. I'm just not interested in it. The reality is, I'm quite happy the way my life is with that special someone in my life. I don't require all this extra stuff. And the people that do, there's all sorts of places that you can find that sort of thing. Okay, this is what I'm talking about, being true to yourself. Be honest, be direct. Do not leave things to chance. Except, I mean, if you're going to the casino, you're obviously leaving them to chance. Myself, I don't go to the casino much. As in my life, I've walked in there 9 times. 8 of them, I walked out with more money than I had walking in. Not a lot, but more. I don't rely on luck. Okay. I rely on effort. Meaning, when I decide I desire something to happen, I'll go out of my way to do what I can to make that thing happen. Which is why I came to the conclusion I've fought it my entire life. I'm not taking medication. I'm not doing anything that the doctors tell me because, well, frankly, I don't like the way they operate. And on the whole, I really don't. But because of the age I am, maybe I'm growing up. I wouldn't bet on it. My memories go a long way back. But I've decided that where it comes to certain medications, I will use them as a crutch for the moment until I can get my body reworked. Okay, instead of fighting the issue and going, I'll do it my way, it's time to look in the mirror and go, no, it's not working as quickly as I'd like. Maybe it's time to take somebody else's idea and go, let's see if that works. Now, I've got my own issues around medication and what have you. But here's the one I will quite happily tell people. So many people look at the pharmaceutical companies and go, those are evil groups. Well, they're not. And here's why I say that. The pharmacies, yes, they sell all kinds of medications, many of which have really silly side effects. But the reason I don't have a problem with that is this. The pharmaceutical companies will come out and go, here's a medication that will help you in this little way. But here's all the things that it'll do to kill you. Please buy my medications. Now, if you're going to buy their medications, then what ends up happening is if you have side effects, they've already warned you. They've been honest and said, these are the ones that we know of. Maybe not all of them, but here's a whole list of ones that they do know of. If you use our medication, these are some of the things that it can affect. Okay. So with that in mind, the pharmaceutical companies are operating inside karmic law. They're telling you, this is what we're building. We're being true to us. We're building these medications. We're treating you the way we desire to be treated. We're telling you, here's the side effects. Okay. We desire money from you for these medications. So these are what the side effects are. This is what it might be able to do to help you. Please give us money. Energy out, energy in. Okay. The pharmaceutical companies on the whole are following karmic law. Okay. Now, whether they do in their private life is not the point. The point is what they do with the business. Okay, the same is with you. You know, you take a look at politicians, and people look at the politician's private life and go, oh, they did this thing wrong, therefore they're a lousy politician. Not the case. They may well be really bad, disruptive people. Okay, it is quite possible that they are that way. As a matter of fact, quite likely from what I've seen. But the reality of it is that pharmaceutical companies take a look at things and they go, this is what we're doing. Now, it's time for people to realize that the people running these companies are just people. They have the same issues, the same desires, the same complications you have. The only difference is what they do for a living. Okay. It's like when you're looking at people, as long as are doing, if they follow karmic law, they don't have a lot of problems. And again, that is what I deal with in my own world. Okay. And that reminds me that's something else we've got to deal with, and I'll do that. What I'm, yeah, let's try one thought at a time. What do you think? Oh, we will get back to that thought next time. We're hitting the half-hour mark here, so like I said, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, okay, and absolutely take a look at the contact list below. If you've got questions or when you have questions, reach out and talk to us. We'll be more than happy to do our best to respond or to put another video out to deal with whatever questions are coming up. Until then, we're going to cut this short. So until we meet again, take care of each other and yourselves, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.